Welcome back. Hello, hello. More monster lore. For those of you who enjoy monster lore and enjoy monsters, we are back here to talk about that topic again. And we're going again through Esper's Emporium of Esoterica. I have constructed a set of notes for you. Hopefully it will be of interest to you in some way. But we're not just going to do that. We're also going to make a monster. So I'm putting up a poll. Feel free to take part in that poll. Okay. I am very interested to see what you have to say and what you would like to contribute. You will need dice today because we're going to randomly generate our monster. So your polyhedral dice will be required. Okay, so about 4 or 5 minutes at the most, I'll cover our monster for today and then we will make a monster just like we do every single week. So grab some food, some drink, make sure you're comfortable and let's get started, shall we? Hi, welcome to How to RPG. My name is Fred Weller and today I want to talk about tabletop role-playing games and the lore of a monster. This is the grotesque guardian, the gargoyle, the thing made of stone that has wings. What is it? What do we know about it? Well, this is from Esper's Emporium of Esoterica. It is a Dungeons & Dragons 5e compatible monster for those of you who are interested. It is also very much from the lore, the folklore of our world. So it is not a completely original work. It is certainly based off an existing creature or monster. The stone statue appears to be a little wide-eyed scowling fiend with wings that gurgles. Though the grotesque guardian is a type of gargoyle, a gargoyle is fashioned into the form of a demonic, monstrous guard that watches over its domain. The gargoyle has clawed hands, clawed feet, bat-like wings, horns, fangs, and a long tail, often ending with sort of like a dagger or a spearhead. The original gargoyle is a grotesque statue with an integrated spout designed to drain away water from a rooftop coming off, say, a temple, a tower, or a castle, even a manor. Animated gargoyles are different. They are artificial beings of stone that are bound to a specific purpose, although they are often considered closer to the organic life form that you might think of as a creature with wings than a construct such as a golem. It is widely thought that the gargoyle is one of the few construct creatures capable of a form of reproduction. Gargoyles have been rumoured to craft others of their kind, constructing them from rocks and debris. Gargoyles are rarely hostile, and unless attacked, they don't usually attack you. Nevertheless, you do not want to meddle in the affairs of a gargoyle because they are a holy terror if disturbed. A gargoyle will feast on the overheard words and secrets that people hide. Specialized weapons like magical maces have the best chance of actually damaging and destroying a gargoyle. Blades that are normal just won't do anything. The gargoyle, if it remains completely still, looks exactly like a normal statue. The gaze of a gargoyle can cause magical fear in other creatures, particularly if they look into the monster's eyes. The primary sense of a gargoyle is their eyes, and they can see in the dark, and you probably can't. So you should fear the gargoyle when you are in its realm. So that is everything I have on the gargoyle today. I want to thank you for listening and watching. I want to thank Esper the Bard for allowing me to cover this topic and sharing the artwork and the information. And all the best with your monsters. Until next time, keep rolling those 20s. Okay. Now, pardon me, people. I am struggling as we go into winter. It means that essentially my ability to deal with stuff gets harder, as you may be aware if you've followed my channel for any length of time. Usually, what I've been asked by Esper is to share the page entry for the gargoyle or the grotesque guardian from his book, and so I want to do that. But before I do that, I want to make sure that you guys have got your dice ready. If you haven't, go get them now. You will need them. We're going to be making a monster. We've been doing this each week, is making the monster lore for a unique monster, doing some AI art for it, just as conceptual stuff, and doing a stat block for Dungeons & Dragons 5e for that monster. That stat block, of course, is pretty rudimentary because it takes time to do a stat block for any kind of creature. And that's sort of what we're doing for the next hour or two, should I say. I would imagine that's probably about how long it'll take. So hopefully you are just about ready. I am just pulling up the page for this because I just realized I forgot to pull it up, and I was supposed to have this preemptively ready to go, and there it is. Thank God for that. Thankfully, it didn't take too long to find it. So let me share this page with you, and then we'll get on to actually creating a monster of our own. A creation that is new. Here we go. This is the Guardian Grotesque, or the Grotesque Guardian, whichever way you want to say it, doesn't really matter. Has a pretty standard armor class for a challenge rating 4 creature. About 16 is the armor class, about 60 hit points, and its speed is 20 feet if it walks, but you want to fly. You got 40 feet of fly. Okay. Resistant to a lot of different types of damage, like bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. You need to really have a magical weapon or an adamantian weapon of some kind. Obviously, completely immune to poison damage, and it has a lot of condition immunity, such as exhaustion, frightened, paralyzing, petrification, and poisoning, which again makes perfect sense. And you have, now this monster has 120 feet of dark vision. Okay. It has false appearance, as you would expect with most creatures that have false appearance. Just needs to remain motionless and just appears to be a statue. Of course, that usually doesn't trick your players. Your players are pretty bright. They can figure these things out. So just because you have false appearance won't solve your problem. They're probably just going to attack everything, whether it's a animated Guardian Grotesque or Gargoyle or not. They're probably going to smash them all, just like they do with skeletons. Has multi-attack, so you get to use your fearsome gaze, and you also have 3 possible attacks. You can use your tail, claws, and your bite, so that's cool. I'm not going to go through the details around them because they're pretty standard. And then the last one is there is a reaction. So a lot of monsters don't have bonus actions or reactions in Dungeons & Dragons 5e, which I think is a terrible oversight, because without them, they really can't keep up with the players' characters. But that does have a guarding sweep that allows you to activate on somebody else's turn. Okay, so that is the basics of that stat block, if you're wondering. And yes, the fearsome gaze is a recharge feature. So if you want to use your fearsome gaze, you can. Everything within about 30 feet is going to be affected potentially if they fail that wisdom saving throw, and they're going to get frightened for a minute. Getting frightened in Dungeons & Dragons 5e is not necessarily the worst thing. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's something that changes a combat hugely. Being frightened and running away kind of can be useful sometimes. But anyway, let's get on to what you were here for, because we have finished with our monster lore for today. And now we need to actually go and start looking at making our own monster. That's why you're here. And how we do this is very simple. Your poll right now that you're answering will determine the type of monster that we make today. And as you are selecting whether it's be land, marine, sky, or subterranean, that is what I will roll on the table. Now that table is quite often a percentile table. In this case, it will be a percentile table, and I will be tracking your comments in the chat so that I can see what's going on. Pardon me, people, I'm struggling a little bit. Hello, Fred Huber and Pale Rider. Hello, how are you? Imagine an adamantian gargoyle. I'm trying not to. Thank you for putting that into my mind. That seems like a bit of a problem. Creature catalogue for Beckme. There might be. There might well be. I think there have been some monsters or creatures that are like that. I'm taking the hat off because I need my brain to work, and this doesn't seem to help right now. Maybe in winter it will. It'll probably have a beanie on as well, though. The saber cat body with 4-armed human torso with a Medusa head. Nice try. But we're going to do this randomly. We do this each week. We randomly select. So hopefully people have been doing some stuff in the chat. Let's have a look and see what you've got. It looks like there is a tie between sky and land. All right. Somebody needs to break that tie. Otherwise, I'm going to roll off, and it's going to be a roll off to see if it's going to be sky or land. Dun, dun, dun. I have some tables ready to go, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm going to roll based off our poll so far. We've got land and we've got sky. So we're going to roll a 1, a 2, or a 3 on the dice is going to be for land, okay? And if we roll a 4, a 5, or a 6, it's going to be sky. And today it's land. We're doing a land-based creature. Good news. Good news. All right. Oh, somebody tried to mix it up and do a spread. Well, the spread's not going to help me. So I've rolled the dice. Okay, let's have a look at what we've got here. Let me share what I have, and we will start getting you to roll some dice for our land-based creature. So this is Monster Lore Exercise 18. We've done 18. This will be the 18th one we've done so far, which is quite a few. Now, with a land-based creature, let's determine what we are dealing with here. I believe with a land-based creature, we have a couple of choices. One, we have to decide if it's going to be bipedal or a quadrupedal creature. So in other words, has 2 legs or 4 legs. And that will determine how many times we have to roll, okay? No, we're not doing a land-based creature that flies. That's not a land-based creature. It's a flying creature. So, yeah. We've got some people rolling some dice already. Just give me a second. Hashtag. Is it going to have a monster with 2 legs or 4 legs? That's the first thing we need to decide. Fred, I'm pretty sure Fred has said he wants to have, I don't know if Q means quadruped or 4-legged creature, or are you talking about just land creature that flies? We're not doing a land creature that flies. If we're doing a land creature, we're doing a land creature. Okay? That's just another, I know that's our way of trying to get into the sky monsters. And I'm sure we'll get there eventually. We're only on number 18. 4 6-legged, oh good lord. So multi-legged seems to be the way we're going. So we're going multi-legged, So it's going to have to be the 3 rolls. So we're doing head, body, legs. I need to make a note in here that the thing is going to have 4 to 6 legs. Oh, okay, I see. Monster with 4 to 6 legs. Okay. So now let's get over here to our table and find the land-based creatures. That's the flying ones, so I'll move past them. There's the marine. We'll move past that. These tables are not complete. These are still in the trial and test phase. So this one here, if I remember right, has 100. Somebody's already started rolling. So how's it going, Calrel? Hello. Please roll percentile dice. Now you can roll percentile dice, or you can just choose a number between 1 and 100, okay? Percentile dice for monster head, body, and limbs. Yeah, 64 legs. It ain't going to happen. I can tell you that now. It ain't going to happen. Now, 21. You've rolled 21, Fred Huber. We'll take your 21. For those of you who are wondering what was going on, it's a chipmunk head. Oh my God. It's going to be a cute monster today. Lovely. I'm so glad. We're not going to have a monster that's going to tear your head off. Chipmunk head. Love it. Next one. What have you got here? Pale Rider's rolling some numbers. I will take one of Pale Rider's numbers. Let's get a 64. Let's go with 64. What is 64 for the body? It's a rabbit body. Oh, even better. I mean, it's just going to wind up being a chipmunk. That's the problem. If it's a rabbit body, it's going to be a chipmunk for sure. I can see it. What is 17? Catfish. How the hell did we get a catfish as a land-based creature? Are catfish land-based creatures? Do they move around? It's named Alvin. We're not making Alvin. It's not going to happen. How did we get catfish? This must be a mistake. Do catfish move around on the land? Or is it just somebody... I just messed up here somewhere along the line. Okay, let's try your number. 79. Let's try 79. 79. 79 is a tapar. What the hell is this? I don't know what this is. Okay. All right, let's put that in. No, that's not right. Let's try that again. Undo. And like so. All right, now the limbs. So we've got 79, we've got 23. They move through mud. Oh, I see. All right, so you're talking about it's a mud. Oh, I suppose we can do that. It's sort of a chipmunk in mud. Yeah, well, I guess that's very specific. Catfish. All right, so be it. And the last one, I don't know what that is, but that's the kind of limbs it's going to have, which it's got to really be able to work with mud. I don't know if that's going to be appropriate or not. So now that we've done that, we're going to do some AI art. I'm going to see if we can come up with whatever the heck this is supposed to be. I know what a chipmunk looks like. I know what a catfish kind of looks like, sort of. I don't know what this is, so I'm going to find out. So it makes it a bit easier for me. Paste. It's some sort of animal. Oh, okay. Well, how is... Okay, so it's got a catfish body with... It's going to look really strange. With 6 legs. I mean, basically, it's just shove some legs on it and be done with it. Okay, all right. I kind of got an idea. The only thing that's distinctive is the head. So we're not dealing with the head, we're dealing with the legs. Okay, that's fine. I can deal with that. That's all right. Let's go over here to create and make some stuff. We make art. It's a pig, basically. Pig legs. It's got pig legs. Let's move this across. So head of a chipmunk. Head of a chipmunk. Body of a catfish. Catfish with 6 legs. Okay, are we happy? I think we've got it. with 6 pig legs. Here we go. Basically, that's what we're dealing with here. We could say dog legs, couldn't we? Yeah. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I'm really not. So, head of a chipmunk, body of a catfish. Okay, so that should be mostly what we need to have here pumped in. I think we've got our seeding going right. We need to pick our various generations and start making some stuff. I don't think this is going to do very well. We'll try it and see what we get. So, creation 1 in the queue. Next, anime does not work, so forget about it. Style version XL. I don't know that style version XL has been very effective recently. Pixel art did not work at all. Style version X, I don't know. We'll see. We'll give it a go. That's the next one. And gorgeous anime, no. Semi-realistic anime, no. Magic didn't really work last time. Hydra may do something, it may not. It can be a bit hit and miss, so we'll try it. Photographic, I don't know that photographic is necessarily going to be the, photographic. Anime, extreme realism, tempting. High fantasy, just going to put breasts on it, so it's of no point. Lyra, we might get something out of Lyra. And, I've got some pictures coming through, but not necessarily going to be the things we want. 3D, we got 3D art. 3D art, we can do that one. That's fine. 3D art might work. And it's just drawing chipmunks, basically. Argo and Argo 2 are useless. I've tried them so many times and they just wind up being junk. Fantasy might work. So we'll try that one in process. And then what else is there? Warrior, no. Comic art, Art Deco, Moody, no. Gothic, no. Cinematic. Abstract world won't work. Cinematic. I don't know that cinematic is... have I even tried cinematic? I don't think I even tried it. Let's just see what happens, cinematic. And we'll do extreme realism as well, since I missed that before, didn't I? Extreme realism. I don't know. We'll see what we get. Basically, it's just drawing chipmunks. Oh, well done. You do your chipmunks, and we're going to go back to what we need to do, which is create our monster. So, catfish, pig. Pig. It's basically a pig. There we go. All right, so we're going to do some special abilities now that we're rolling up our various body parts and seeing if we get a monster that actually looks slightly different to something else. Let's start the process. Why am I having... Let's do this. No, that's the wrong one. Oh, come on. You're kidding me. I'm not looking for your channel, dude. I'm looking for my channel. Here we go. This is what I want. Perfect. Okay, so hashtag roll percentile dice for monster special ability. It gives you chipmunks. Yes, I got chipmunks galore, like lots of them. Now that I've put that in, start giving... Now, you can give me a number between 1 and 100, because this is a 100 table. Or you can just roll some dice. I reckon just roll some dice. 64 is our first number coming in. Wonderful. Let's go possession. The spirit of the animal takes control of a living body. I'm not feeling it, but I'll put it down for now. Hello, Derp. How are you? Fred Huber is a patron, so is Derp. And we've got Pale Rider here as well, and Calrel. And Derp has rolled me a 70. Dun, dun, dun. Bum, bum, bum. 70. Let's get... What is 70? Shape changed. Transforms into the form of another creature. I like this one. I think this is the thing it would do. It's a shape-changing creature. One of the things I don't want to do today, if I can help it, is I don't want to make another cursed monster, and I don't want to make another solo unique monster that there's only one of. Because we've been doing, it's kind of happened to us a few times recently. And I mean, I'm all for doing them occasionally, but I just don't want to keep it being a repeat pattern. Calrel, you've rolled a 22. Let's see what 22 is. 22 is density shift. The creature can temporarily increase or decrease body weight. That might fit with the transformation idea. I actually like that. That gives it a bit more flexibility in what it can do. So I kind of like that a lot. And Fred Huber, you've rolled an 89 as well. Okay, 89. Let's see what 89 is. 89. Yo. Transplanar strike. The creature can attack physically or spiritually from another plane of existence. Okay. All right. That's probably enough on those, unless we've got somebody new jumping in here. If you're somebody new, never been here before, by all means roll some dice and I will take in consideration what you want to do here. Now, I mean, now that I kind of looking at this, actually this makes more sense. The possession thing doesn't need to be spirit, but maybe it can control in another way. Maybe it can control mentally. Maybe spiritually, yes, but maybe it's a mental control, and shape changing and and density shift might work. So that I think there's possibilities for this. I think the planar strike thing is the only thing that I'm not hugely fond of, but it's definitely an attack. Do you know what I mean? It's these other things feel like they're things you can do, but they're not necessarily. Yeah, I know. No, we'll leave it all. We'll leave it all for now. Let's do the monster traits next. Don't roll dice yet, people. Give me a chance. Roll percentile dice for monster traits. Okay, right. Now that I've got it in, pump in your roll your dice, put your number up, and I will put that in. And I think that's got our special abilities mostly locked down. There's a bit going on here. Derp has got a 15. First person in, and on the traits we get a 15. Anti-telepathy. The emotions, thoughts, and mind of a creature can be read with telepathy. Oh, can't be read. Oh, you can't read its mind. This is why I feel like I'm actually up for that. I like that idea a lot. And I think what we do is, I'm going to put this as mind possession. The spirit of the monster takes control of another something like that. I think this is where we would want to probably go with this. I feel like that leads in quite nicely. 82 in terms of traits. Let's have a look and see what 82 is. 82. Spider climb. Oh, it climbs up walls and along ceilings, which is a strange feature for it's Spider Pig. We've got Spider Pig going on here. I don't know if this idea fits, but I'll mark it down for now. Can always take it out. I'm going to highlight this. So I think this is probably the one thing that I'm a little bit unsure about. Yeah. And kind of also a little unsure about whether I want this to be a thing either. Planar strike. Transplanar strike. But we'll come back to them. Okay, can you scroll from the top down so I can see a overview of how the monster has come along so far? Yes, I can. Yep, sure. We haven't done that much. We're not that far along, okay? To give you an idea, our monster so far has the head of a chipmunk, the body of a catfish, I know, the limbs of a tapar, which is a pig, and it has 4 to 6 legs. We've decided, I think, that it has 6 legs at this point. So the monster with 6 legs. So it's a six-legged creature. It's a little wag. Okay. So that's what we've got. We have mind possession. So I guess the monster takes control of another living creature, another living creature's mind. Living creature's. Come on, creature's mind. I think that's what we'll do with this. And get rid of the spirit thing. Shape changing, transplanar strike may be there, changing its density. So it doesn't just change its shape and form, it can also change its density as well. So there's a few things going on. And then we have our anti-telepathy. So you can't read the emotion, thoughts, and mind of the creature with telepathy. And it's got spider climb, which I'm not too sure about. But Fred Huber's rolled up another one. It's a clumsy chipmunk. It does feel like that, yes. Let's go over here. And you rolled up a 97. Water walking. We're going to have it walking along water. Good Lord. I really don't feel like that fits at all either. How about the head of a catfish, body of a chipmunk? I'm not going to worry about that. That bit I'm not worried about. I'm not really worried about that. Okay, so we've got a couple of things that are a little bit odd, but I'll mark them and we'll see what we get in the future. Now, I don't know if the pictures have rendered yet, so we could go and have a look at the pictures before to do monster motivation, but I'm going to get you to roll it anyway. Okay, so hashtag roll. Now that we're doing monster motivations, roll percentile dice for the monster motivation. There are 100, so water walk works with a catfish. Yeah, it does. I suppose it does, because there's sort of a catfish part of it, but it's got the legs of a pig, basically, so I just don't know how that's supposed to work. We'll come up with something. I'll figure it out. Anyway, while you're rolling dice, let's go and have a look and see if our creations have actually drawn anything that isn't just complete rubbish. Because let's remind ourselves that AI doesn't really do a great job sometimes. I got mostly chipmunks here. Here we go. First one. It's a chipmunk. It's another chipmunk. Another chipmunk hasn't figured out how to do anything else than just a chipmunk. So, not impressed. I think our first one is a delete. I deleted it. Next, let's see. We have a surprise chipmunk. We have a sort of a chipmunk with multiple tongues. We have a whacked out chipmunk, and I don't know that that's anything like what I asked for. And another chipmunk. Okay, so with chipmunks galore today, it's obviously not going to be able to figure out how to draw this. Okay, let's try this one. It's chipmunk followed by a cat, by a fish, followed by another fish, followed by a chipmunk. Well done. Wow, and that was really impressive. Okay, next let's have a look and see what this is. This is basically a chipmunk with multiple ears, isn't it? That is badly drawn. This doesn't know what the heck it's going on here. It hasn't figured it out. This here again doesn't know what it's doing. All right, so that's basically just a mutant chipmunk. Delete. Okay. We only got two more options here, and then I think it's going to be a disaster. All right, so this is a badly drawn chipmunk, another badly drawn chipmunk, and a goofy looking chipmunk, followed by a chipmunk from an alien planet with a radar antenna. Nice. That'll work for us. No, it won't. I'm going to delete that as well. And let's go over here. Realistic. Oh, look, it's a chipmunk, and it's another chipmunk. Oh, and it's another chipmunk, and look, another chipmunk. Does not have 6 legs. Pretty sure this AI is broken. Okay, let's just ditch that. I think we can just say that the drawing of the picture will not help. I'm going to have to leave that to somebody else to figure out. So let's move along. We're doing monster motivations. Variable density helps water walking. I suppose that's true. It would probably help. Density would also help with the spider climb. Oh my gosh, now it makes sense. Oh, because you could make yourself really light. You could change your density so you could climb along a wall and along a ceiling. That's actually true. I didn't think of that. That actually works perfectly. It's crazy, but it works. Well, I don't have to highlight that anymore. Let's move on and let's do the monster motivations. I'm very pleased. That's good news. Awesome. And it still makes us a land-based creature because even though we're walking on water, we can also walk up vertical surfaces and along horizontal surfaces. It's almost as if you picked these. I wonder if it helps to be a patron and have these tables in front of you that you can just look through and decide, oh, I'll just tell Fred this number. I'm actually fine with you doing that, people. That's all good. Right, Dirt. Dirt, we're doing monster motivations now, and you have rolled up the mighty, let's get rid of this, motivations, and you rolled up an 8, and we've got a 64. 8 and 64. What is 8? Body Snatcher. Oh, the monster acquires a new skin or body before it dies. Kind of. Okay. So let's put that one in as a possibility. And then 64 is Fred Huber. Fred Huber has got 64, so let's find what 64 is. 64 is obsession. The creature is fixated on a particular object, creature, or item. We had this last week, didn't we? I would not say that the motivation for our creature or monster is particularly strong. I would like a third role, preferably, to pick from, so that we can, unless we've got shape-changing body snatcher, the monster acquires. I feel like body snatcher, the monster. You know what I think we should do? I think we should take the body snatcher idea. I think that might work. You haven't downloaded the tables? Aha. Let's go with this. Let's get rid of the obsession one, because I feel like I think we just highlight that and say I don't think we need that. And then we go with the body snatcher. The monster steals the body of dead creatures to duplicate and disguise itself as. That makes a lot of sense now. Then that actually kind of fits together quite nicely. So it is a body snatcher, but since it can change its form, that sort of all works together quite nicely. Dun dun dun. Fred has rolled us a 53. Let's see what 53 gives us in terms of motivation. 53. Manipulate. The creature manipulates other creatures for various purposes. I think that works too. Like, let's include this. I'm going to put this. This is probably my favorite, but because it's got that mind control thing going on. So manipulating for various purposes. And yeah, I'm not so keen on the obsession option, but that's cool. We'll just leave that as highlighted for now. So yeah, we'll come back to this. That's sort of working. So we have two motivations that kind of work together quite nicely. Next, let's do our monster origin. Dun dun dun. That's monster motivations, so we'll get rid of them. We're going on to origins, which is a 20-sided dice roll. 1 to 20, hashtag. Roll a d20 for monster origin. If we wind up getting curse, I'm just gonna ignore it, okay? Because I'm sick and tired of trying to figure out how to make curses work. Monsters with curses is actually really difficult. The only reason that the werewolf or the were-creature, lycanthropes and vampires work in terms of curses is because clearly they are tied to certain things. You know, they are tied to certain types of concepts. You know, one is sort of like I mean, really the original curse is on Dracula, the original vampire, right? Or something like that. Something like that. But yeah, I've tried to deal with them before and they always wind up being disastrous. Fred has rolled us a 6 for our monster origin. Created by the gods. A god or goddess creates or births the monster. I'm actually not against that idea. We would still have to have a little bit more of an origin story if it's going to be that. That would actually not be a bad idea at all. But we'd need to actually create something around that. And then we have... You want it 5, crossbreeding, produced by mating or hybridizing 2 different species. Oh, you want to get rid of the... Oh, okay. Oh, that's fine. Okay. Copy. So it looks like the hybridizing thing is the thing you want to do. Please, let's not say a wizard hybridized it, because God almighty, there's too many of them. And then Calrell has rolled a 12. Let's see what 12 is. Is it something interesting? Nightmare. An individual's nightmare takes the form of a monster. We may be able to crossbreed our nightmare and idea together. We might be able to crossbreed these a little bit. I don't know how that's going to work. I haven't figured that out. We are just throwing some ideas together and seeing what we get. Okay, they're created by the gods. Although it could be a crossbreed by the gods. Actually, that could work. That could work. I mean, the 3 could potentially work. Anyway, okay, let's move on to the next thing, which is our layer. Because we have so many different tables to deal with. We have to keep moving, and if I slow down too much, we fall behind. So what are we doing here? Hashtag and then roll a D20 bracket, or you're going to roll a D20, do a D20 plus a D6, because it's 1 to 26, D6 for monster lair. Bum bum bum. You demand druid crossbreeding. You want a druid? God, jeez. All right, here we go. God's a okay, created by the gods. A nature god or goddess creates the monster through crossbreeding. I hardly feel like it's a nightmare though. So, yeah. I think we might need to ditch the nightmare. I'm just going to highlight it. I'm all right with the other one, though. That's all right. We can deal with that. Like rabbits in Australia. They get loose and multiply. Okay. All right. So we got our layers. There is a whole bunch of them, 26 that we have. And hopefully we'll pick something that works. And that'll be that. Just roll it. Just do it randomly, people. Just chuck those bones and see what happens. Dirt. I tried to get an AI to generate the monster. It did. Oh, hang on. Hashtag. No. Let me just do this again. I tried to get the AI to generate the monster. It didn't fit the description very well, but it is monstrous and not a chipmunk. I put it on the Discord Arts channel for anyone interested. Okay, look, I think I can pull down Discord. Let's see how your monster came out. Is it a better rendition than what my AI was trying to do? This is the good thing about being able to share a screen like this, is like we can go over and like have a look. So remember, people, rolling either a 20-sided dice or pick a number between 1 and 26, or we roll a 20-sided dice and a 6-sided dice, add those numbers together and give me the number, and that'll determine what we have for that. So let's go over here, and oh my god, does it have 6 legs? It does. It is definitely much more, well, it's cuter. It's kind of disgusting too, isn't it? What do you think, people? Is this suitable? Is this our chipmunk? Is that a catfish chipmunk pig-like creature? Well, it's got 6 legs. I mean, it's definitely a thing. Here, tell you what, I'll drop that into my downloads along with the other one that I still haven't dealt with. Those of you who are wondering, when are we ever going to see these things, Fred? When are we going to see these things on Patreon? The day that I'm not working 5 days a week. And it's actually not that far off. So just be patient. We'll get there eventually. Okay. How are we doing with our monster lair? So Derp, well done. I'm impressed. Yeah, it didn't get the pig legs at all. No. But let's remember, it's just a conceptual drawing. And your conceptual drawing that you came up with, Derp, is far more accurate than what I got. AI just did not figure out what to do with that for me. So, you know, it happens. Yeah, I like Derp's picture too. I think it's much closer to what we were after. Now, you've got an 8 and a 25. 8 and a 25. Let's see what we got. 8 and 25. 8 is clouds. Why the hell have we got clouds? A visible mass of condensed water vapor floating in the atmosphere. How the hell is it up in the clouds? Is this a cloud monster? Really? That's its lair. It lives in the clouds. Oh my. I'm not a fan of the clouds thing, but let's have a look. What else have we got here that you rolled up? You rolled a 25. Anybody else rolling anything? 25. You got a vessel. A large space, water or land vessel that has crashed. Oh, good Lord. Yes, of course it is. It's a crashed vessel. Well, I suppose it could be, but that's its lair. I don't know. Hello, John. How's it doing? Agile Monk is a patron and a moderator. Thank you for being here, John. I appreciate it. How are we doing? It's a balloon. Oh, it could be like a... Yeah, but then it would mean it would have to fly. That's a lot of legs. Yeah, it's got 6 legs. 6 legs. That's a lot of legs. All right, I think we need to roll up another one before I move on. So somebody roll a 20-sided dice, pick a number between 1 and 26, or roll a 20-sided dice and a 6-sided dice. Give me a number, because I'm not completely sold on the cloud or the vessel thing at all. I'm not sure that I want to make that the lair of this creature, because I don't want this to be a one-off creature again. I want it to be because we've had so many solo unique one-off creatures as it is. It's been nice to not have that happen again. I like a little bit of variety. That's the whole point of rolling on these tables in the first place. Okay, maybe it's a helium monster. Yeah, but I don't want... Fred Huber's been trying to get me to do a land-based flying creature, which basically just means a flying creature. So he's seeding the chat deliberately. I know that. I know he's doing this. Dear. Demiplane. A limited interdimensional space that lies either within our planes or outside the known planes. I like that more. I like that more. Okay. All right. So we've got a layer. I don't know how that's going to look. I'll figure that out some other time. Bum, bum, bum. All right. We need to do monster reproduction. Monster reproduction is going to be next. And I believe it's 24. There are 24 different monster reproductions. Bum, bum, bum. Let's see. 24. A whole bunch of these little things. 56% of the poll is for an air creature. Might as well be a hybrid. Well, it looks like it's being hybridized anyway. So it may well go that way. Derp. I haven't even had a chance to have a look at the chat, but I'm leaving the ideas. Did you notice I did not mark anything in yellow? I just left them. I left them. I took my hands away from it. So let's do the monster reproduction. And if we get solo monster, it doesn't reproduce. We're getting rid of that. Okay. Roll a d20 or roll a d20 plus a d4 for monster reproduction. Let's see what we get. 29 on reproduction. Okay, good that you've assigned it 29 on reproduction. You do realise there it doesn't go up to 29. 7, Derp. There we go. Right. 7. Egg. A combination of the, yeah, okay, I can live with the, an egg-laying creature I can live with. We can do that. An egg-laying creature. So get rid of the layer. Did I do that? Layer. We're doing reproduction. Layer. Reproduction. There we go. So we've got 7. Reproduction can't be 29. So it's going to be egg-based unless somebody else comes up with something else. Otherwise, we're going to move on to food. 13. 13. All right, what's 13? You roll a 13. Parasite. A parasitic larva infects a host organism with eggs and eventually metamorphs into the adult monster. Well, it could be that. That's a, I mean, it's a parasitic egg infects the organ host and eventually metamorphs. We could do this. We could combine the two of those. That could be done. So if we have egg laying and we have parasitic eggs. A parasitic cluster of eggs is injected through the teeth into a host organism and eventually metamorphs into an adult monster. There we go. How's that? Bum, bum, bum. We have our reproduction. It lays eggs and victims. It's what every game master and dungeon master wants their monster to be able to do, is to lay eggs inside their player characters so that they transform into another monster. Okay? So you've got your wish. That's here we go. Right, monster diet. This is going to be important. Hashtag. Roll 2d20 for monster diet. Okay. We have 40 options here. So hopefully we'll roll up something that's going to be sort of suitable for how it feeds. I don't know. Just randomly roll and find out what we get. And then we'll just... The more, as I've said before, the more we do this with our monster, the more we randomly try to determine things, the more and more we find that the creature itself, this thing, is going to wind up changing and metamorphing into something else. It's just how it works. So I'm quite curious to see how that all turns out in terms of what you wind up rolling. I also need to take a quick break. So while you're deciding on and rolling some dice, I am going to put up, Arnold's going to look after you for 5 minutes or less while I go have a break and use the toilet. Won't be long. All right, I'm getting in there. I'm back. Okay, so let's have a look. How are we doing in terms of our rolls? Make it eat decayed flesh. Hello, Oscar Gross. How are you? Nice to have you here. Let's see if we can't transfer over and deal with our food. We're dealing with food right now, and we have an 11 and a 17. Cyber Troll. The monster feeds on negative spoken words. I don't know if that's fitting very well. No, it's not. I don't think it's the best fit. Let's just say, I think that might be a going yellow concept. Here we go. Yeah, we might have to go in the yellow. 17. You want 17, Fred Huber. You've got a 17. We're not going very high, are we? Emotions. The creature collects the energy from feelings and emotions. There's certainly an element to this creature who seems to interfere with people's minds that sort of suggests that might, and the fact that you can't really read it, mind possession. Maybe that's actually not a bad food source. I actually like that as a potential food source. I think that might be perfectly fine. It's an odd creature. It doesn't just feed on decaying flesh. You want to have decaying flesh, do you? Profanity. Pale Riders rolled up a 5. Decaying flesh while in egg form. But after that, it doesn't. Let's change the way that it feeds. So the monster consumes decaying flesh while in egg form. Egg form only. That would be interesting. Now, Pale Rider rolled a 6. Profanity. Let's see what a 6 comes out as. 6 is a carnivore. Creature eats flesh, animal. So we got, okay, so we've done this. We've kind of shifted carnivore to carrion eater. Do we want it to feed on something that's already dead or something that's already alive? That's the question. That is the big question. You want 6. You want 6. You want it to feed. Okay. I see where this is leading. So be it. It won't be decaying flesh. It will be in living creatures. Okay. Let's do this. The adult creature collects the energy from feelings and emotions. So its diet changes. So carnivore. The consumes animal flesh on egg form. There we go. And we'll get rid of the Cybertroll thing. I think that's probably not going to work. Negative spoken words. I'm going to highlight that for now. I haven't taken it out. It's just there. I'm just thinking in terms of maybe we can, the adult creature collects the energies from feelings and emotions, but maybe it feeds, it prefers negative feelings and emotions. Oh, let's do that. Negative emotions. The adult creature collects the energy from negative feelings and emotions. I'll get rid of this. So we're a combination of the two. And so there are 2 food sources. Depending on its maturity. Eats by inhaling methane. Can feed on both. I suppose it could, but I think it'd be more interesting that we have the egg feed on something different to the adult version. Monster food, color. The monster consumes all color from the area, leaving the surrounding grey. Methane. Immature feeding on dead flesh. Mature, they feed on both. Oh, I see. I see what you're trying to do here. All right, so here we go. So, copy. The monster consumes animal flesh. Consumes living or decaying animal flesh while in egg form only. We got it. There you go. And let's deal with our senses. I think we've done our food stuff. Let's move on. Let's get our senses sorted out. We need some different senses for this creature. Hashtag. So roll 2. D20 for monster senses. I don't know. Does this is an adult creature? Does this really look like it feeds on flesh? I feel like it feeds on something else. Based off what the monster's doing, I kind of feel like we can have two different things going on here. Collects the energy from ecology. So that's collecting. I see what you're trying to do here. Oh, I see. Okay, so all right. Let's see. Did I delete it? I did. I've already removed it. I can probably pick it back up if I go over here. Carnivore, carnivore, carnivore. And there's our carrion carnivore. Copy. So there's a couple of different things going on here. Paste. No, undo. Paste. Feeds on feeds on fresh animal flesh or meat. Well, egg form. I think we need to have a distinction. So let's have a little bit of a distinction going on here. Eats fresh animal flesh or meat. Flesh or meat. But can sustain itself on decaying meat. Okay, all right, so we've got a few different things going on here. So some variation. All right, how are sensors going here? Derp is rolled it up and we're ready to go. So we're moving it back over here. Sensors, we have a bunch. We've got derp at 31. Taste. The monster senses flavored perception in its mouth, tongue, nose, or contact with a substance. Got to decide how is it, what is the thing that it uses? Does it use its tongue, its nose? Yeah. So that's our first one. Oh, forget it, Fred Huber. I'm not putting down rotted brains. We're not going for rotted brains. Okay, 28. So it's way too specific. 28. Why rotted brains? 28. 28. I mean, it can prefer. I mean, look, it can prefer. Here you go. The most physical animal fresh, but also sustains itself on decaying meat. The adult. The preferred diet of an adult monster is brain tissue. Okay, are we happy? Are we happy? God, let's get off the the food thing and onto the senses thing. Okay, nose. Okay, the nose it is. Tastes, flavors perceived in the nose. Okay, we've got nose. Right, so that's that. Let's go for our next one. We've got 28. So I was trying to get to 28. I got distracted, as does happen. Smell. The monster perceives or detects odor or scent of an organ like the nose or antennae. Well, it doesn't have antennae. So it's basically its taste and its smell is all in the one place. Essentially, right? The monster perceives or detects odor or scent of an organ. Scent with the nose. Okay, We don't have an antennae, so forget about the antennae. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Pretty basic, simple stuff here. And then Oscar, you've got a 16. So 16, let's go into 16. Is memory taste. Oh, I see. Monster can access the memories of other creatures by tasting blood, body fluids, or flesh. And that's probably makes a lot of sense. Considering this monster, it seems to be a mind-affecting monster. Memory taste. The monster can access the memories of another creature by tasting blood, body fluids, or flesh. I'm fine with that. That's fine. That's all good. So this is a land-based land. So here we go. We're going to go here. What is it? It's supposed to be land, environment. Its origin. Its lair is a combination of all sorts of wacky things. So it's basically a demi-plane of cloud formations There we go. So there's our environment, which is sort of a combination of all those different ideas you had there, people. Okay, moving on. No, it doesn't eat the brain. Let's just say it just needs to taste the blood, body fluids, or flesh. That's good enough. It doesn't need to be a brain thing. Right, communication. Let's get this out of the roll away from this one. And let's get our communication done before we run out of time, because we've got a couple more things left to do. So hashtag roll 2 D20 for monster communication. There we go. All right, so we have 40 different options here. So roll 2 20-sided dice, add the result, and that's what we get. And that'll be its communication method. Okay, and we'll just pick the one that sort of fits the best with what we've got with our monster. 7 for senses. Why do you want to go back to... I've got rid of it. It's gone. Senses is gone. Senses is gone. I just got rid of senses. You want 7 to be senses. Senses. Monster, lore, monster, senses. Here we go, senses. Number 7. What is 7 that you're so empathic touch that can feel the emotions from the creature by touching them? Oh, I see. I see where you're going with this. All right, so that's back to senses. I'll chuck it in. It's going in. All right, we happy? Cool. All right, back to where we should be. Communication. No more senses. Communication. Moving forward. 9 from Pale Rider. Thank God. 9. What do we got here for 9? Communication. Communication. 9 is colour feces. Of course it is. Who is it? Pale Rider. I should have guessed. He spotted it as I was scrolling through. Didn't take long. He would go straight for the feces. I knew he would. Communicates its feelings by altering the colour of its droppings. Dear. I wrote this down after people put this forward. So it's my fault in many respects that it exists at all. Okay, so what else have we got here? We've got 15 for communication. Oscar, let's see what your 15 gives us. Emotion. The creature can rapidly change emotional states to impart a message. Okay, so this is this makes a lot of sense. I just don't know how it would do that. How are we going to integrate it in some way? Okay, next. 22 for communication. Let's see what 22 is. 22 is leaf curling. A plant or monster reshapes leaves to form messages. Really? That is an odd one. No, I know you saw it, Pale Rider. I know you saw me scroll through it. You've done this a few times with me. You've probably remembered what they are. You've probably got it written down there somewhere. I don't know about the leaf curling thing. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to make that work. I'm going to just highlight it for now, but I'm not doing anything more. We're just going to keep moving. Oh, we're rolling another one, are we? 34. Keep it. Keep the leaf curling. 34. What is 34 on communication? Symbiosis. The monster is a symbiotic relationship with another creature that can release to change a message. Okay. I think even if I keep that, which it could work, I mean, it has the potential. It's going to have to be a little different because I feel like this monster feeds off other people, other things, other creatures. I think that's definitely not a nice creature. So let's do that. Okay, now let's do monster society. If there is such a thing as a monster society for this little sucker. So roll D20 or roll a D20 plus a D4. D4 for monster society. Keep the poo color. Oh, you want to keep the poo color? Oh, I see. 12. What are we talking about? 12? I think I've already moved on from whatever communications. Are you talking about 12? 12 for communication style. I already moved. I just closed that one down again. This keeps happening to me. I'm trying to move too quickly, and you guys are trying to pump into the chat, and of course it doesn't pop up straight away for me. Okay, communication. Can I find it? Can I find it? Can I find it? Can I find it? There, 12. You roll a 12 for communication, didn't you? Drawing. Each exit. No, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. Let's just keep going with the society thing. Pale Ride's got a 15, and we've got a 2. 2. Anarchy. The monster society is fragmented with no rules or laws. I actually like this one. This one I can see being a thing. An unorganized society where it's just bedlam. Anarchy. And then we have Pale Rider's 15. Let's see what 15 is. Metrocracy. What's this? A monster society in which individuals are chosen and moved into positions of success, power, and influence on the basis of their demonstrated abilities and merits. Do you know, that could work too. Either one of those could potentially work. Which one do people prefer? Do you want anarchy, or do you want a monster society which is actually organized? And then Oscar's got his 21 for society as well. All right, 21. Republic. The monster forms a government and is ruled by a representative of the population. I feel that this is probably not going to be its thing. I've got a distinct feeling that this is not going to be its thing. But we are not finished because we're going to do weaknesses. So I don't know which one to go with this. I'm just going to move down and we'll do weaknesses. So I'm closing society. I've done the society. Society's done. We're doing monster weaknesses, 100. The godling has a nightmare, the 3 spirit creature. Oh God, what do you got here? Let me try that again so I can actually see it past the heart. The godling has a nightmare. The 3 spirit creatures help guide him to safety. In their honor, he combines the 3 into a new creature, makes its form his symbol, and they form symbiosis with his priests. God, there's an awful lot going on there. That's very complicated. Yeah, I'll come back to that in a second. Let's get the next thing done. Let's get our monster weaknesses. Hashtag. Roll percentile dice for monster weakness. With rules by the bullies. Ruled by the bullies. You want anarchy. Anarchy! Give me anarchy. That's because you rolled it, mate. You want anarchy because you rolled it. That's anarchy. All right, so there's a whole bunch of these things that are weaknesses that we can give to our monster. It's always nice if we're going to give our monster something that they can do which is really, really scary or really, really unusual, alien, is to also give it a weakness. Oh, you want to go with a higher functioning monster. Ooh, look at this. There's going to be a battle over which one it's going to be. Percentile dice, weaknesses. So we've got 100 different potential weaknesses. And you've rolled a 2. So let's see what our 2 is. Agoraphobia. The monster fears places and situations that might cause panic, helplessness, or embarrassment. Oh, that's funny. It is so funny. Okay. And then what did Fred Huber got? A 34. 50 for weaknesses. Okay. So 34 and then 50. 34. Full. And the monster can't get up from a prone position without assistance. I don't think that's going to work. I really don't think. I mean, I can put it in, but I just don't think. Not with a creature that can change its density. I feel like it's not going to fit very well. The agoraphobia could fit into anything, but I don't know that the fallen is going to work since it can change its density. Let's see what your 50 was, though. Did you get a good one? Hive mind. The monster must stay within range of the hive mind or it goes insane. Oh, I like this. Oscar, this is my favorite. It's going to the top. I reckon that there is what's going on for this thing. That's definitely my favorite. This here, really, I don't think that's going to work. So I'm going to just yellow it. And agoraphobia, a situation that causes panic and embarrassment. It doesn't need to have 2, but I'm not against the idea at present. I don't think a republic. I actually kind of like the fact that it could be this, either one of those, anarchy, or it's a really highly organized society. I feel like it feels like it is like that. It feels like it should be going that way. You want 99. What is 99? What have you picked for 99? Water dissolving. No, we've had enough water dissolving. We've had water dissolving before. So water dissolving. The monster shrinks and corrodes when in contact with water. No. We've done enough of that. We've been corroding monsters with water for long enough. The Wicked Witch of the West has done her damage. Okay, so this is our creature. This is the basics around our monster and our monster lore. And I think we're going to just get rid of Fallen. I don't think we need that. So we'll do a... It's gone. I forget about the Republic. I really like the idea of the hive mind. And either one of these would work. I just don't know which one it would be. Leaf curling. I just don't know how to make that all work. So we'll see how we go. We need a name for this sodding thing. I don't think we need obsession. I think we've got enough going on with monster motivations. The body snatching business and the manipulation is good enough. I honestly don't think it needs to be a nightmare origin, but somebody has got something written about that in the chat, so I might grab that now. And then we're going to deal with name. What is the name of the monster? Hashtag. What is the monster called? Because we need a suitable name. Doom, doom, doom. So let me go here. And now that I've changed this over, I should be able to just grab it out of chat without making a horrible mess for you guys. Calrel. Godlings. So I'll just take this idea here. I don't know how that's going to work. I might trim it. I might simplify it in some way, but we'll put it in for now. All right. Okay. How are we doing? Elven. No, Elven is not going to work. Combined catfish and horror. A Cathor. Cathor. Interesting. Right, let's get some names down. And then I got to do the stat block super, super fast. Cathor. Cathor. Alright. So we just need a couple more names. So we have a few choices. I don't want to just have one if we can help it. And obviously our last step is to decide on what the challenge rating for this creature or monster will be. Pale Rider's got his name in. The what's that? Shelvins. I think I know what he's doing there. The Haspel. Cathor. Shelvins as in the Sheldons, as in the Big Bang Theory. Is that where we're going, Pale Rider? Haspel. Cal-Rel has got Haspel in here. Oscar, have you got a name that you would like to put forward while everybody is sort of sharing their ideas? The Mind Muncher. Well, that's nice and simple, isn't it? Mind Muncher. Okay. So while we're getting some names in, by all means keep throwing names at me and I will keep loading it up until we get the right one. But here is what we need to do. I need to decide on what is the challenge rating. I don't want to make this a high challenge rating creature if we can help it. What is the challenge rating of this monster? And for those of you who are wondering what it looks like, Derp's picture is here. This is our Haspel, Mind Muncher, Shelvins, or Cathor monster. What challenge rating should it be? Remember, this little sucker is can interfere with your mind and brain. It plants or injects nasty eggs that hatch inside you, and it feeds on preferably brain tissue, but it will feed on meat and decaying meat, but it also taps in and collects thoughts, negative thoughts and emotions. So it's got a lot going on. They show up in large groups. You reckon? Yeah. So I feel like it doesn't. I don't want this to be a solo monster. So forget about the solo monster. Okay. Challenge rating 4 is not a bad idea. Anybody else got any other suggestions? Otherwise, number 4 it will be. So how am I doing this? When I do the stat block for a monster, I try to keep my numbers reasonably under control. The easiest way to do that is to do that with the Dungeon Master Guide for D&D 5e. And to use the table on page 274. Everything else, that table is the only thing that's important. Everything else is complete shit to you. It really won't work. 4, always in a group. Okay, so let's put down some stipulations in terms of how it operates: food, senses, environment. Society. The monster always travels in groups. Okay, 4 it is. There we go. We're going to deal with 4. Travels in groups. So over here to our stat block. I don't know what the hell it's going to be called, frankly. But right now, forget about the croco shrimp. The Mind Muncher, let's just go Mind Muncher for now. Okay, it is not huge, so forget about huge. It definitely feels like it is a monstrosity of some kind. So what size is this thing going to be? Is it going to be small, medium? I'm suggesting we go with small. I think small would be hilarious. As a small creature that can change its shape and size and density, that would just be hilarious. Of course, you don't need to agree with me. You could say something else. Likely to be 10 to 50 within a mile. Oh, I see what you're trying to say. So let's see. Yeah, let's go with small. Let's make it a small creature. Monstrosity. Okay, so if we're dealing with challenge rating 4, this is what I would suggest you do. Small or tiny? Yeah, I think we go with small. Tiny is sort of... Tiny might actually mess with people too much. But you're right, I think tiny could potentially be an option as well. All right, so looking at this page, 274. Challenge rating 4. So we need to have a proficiency bonus for this little sucker of a 2. So we make sure we have a 2 for that. That's in line with what the proficiency bonus of the characters will be when they are facing this. We have a challenge rating of 4, so we put that number in. Don't worry about the other senses and stuff like that. We're not dealing with that right now. Armor class. It's got an armor class. Now, it's got here listed for challenge rating 4, we want an armor class of 14. Now, we could go higher or lower. We could go down to a 13. That would be all right. Or we could go to a 15, and that would be all right. Natural armor. It might have natural armor, but we might base our armor class more on the fact that it's very quick, because it looks like a very fast, quick creature, so we can push our dex up and make our dex quite a lot higher. So if we made our dex like an 18, then the modifier would be a 4, and then we wouldn't have to have natural armor. Natural armor wouldn't come into play. You could just get rid of that. In fact, let's just do that now, because it doesn't look like it has natural armor. It looks like a soft, squishy creature. So let's just do that now. And then it should have a certain number of hit points. The range for challenge rating should be sitting within about 106 to 130. I always lean more on the high end, but that's because my group are really, really tough. Rainy forest or swamp. What do you mean rainy forest or swamp? Have no idea what you mean by rainy forest or swamp, Fred. Are you saying that you were in a rainy forest or a swamp? Or are you saying that's not its environment, remember? You've decided that it's an interdimensional or a dimensional plane of clouds and so forth. So you can't have all of it. If we're gonna narrow our space down to where it lives and what sort of environment, demiplane of cloud formations that acts as solid land. Like, this is where the damn thing lives. So let's not confuse things any more than they have been confused. Okay, the space vessel, I think we can get rid of the crash space vessel. I think that's unnecessary. Okay, that's its layer. Clouds, demiplane, da-da-da-da. We've got that sorted. All right, so back to our stat block. Stop distracting me, people, so that I can get... By all means, throw names at me, but don't distract me when I do the math. Otherwise, it's hard. So our attack bonus. What sort of attack do we have? Well, we could potentially have a bite and a tail. It does have a tail on it, doesn't it? And I think Fred Huber was insisting we should have a tail. And the picture has a tail, so let's give it a tail. It's a pig. It's got a catfish tail, so yeah, let's give it a tail for slapping people. It's a slapper, so let's go with. So our attack bonus should be a 5. It says here. Now 5 might not work because of our dexterity, but again, you can change that number by 1 point and you'll be all right, generally. Thinking back to when you are challenge rating something like a challenge rating 4 monster should be really being pitted against a character of level 4. So at level 4, what is your main attack bonus likely to be for a character? Well, you're going to have a proficiency bonus of +2, correct? Unless I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's correct. I don't think your bonus goes up till 3 until your character level 5. Is that right? Yep, that's correct. Okay, so that's in line. And then after that, their bonus will normally be a +3. Okay, you're normally looking at a +3 for most people, and then when they get to level 4, they can bump that up to a +4. So they're going to have a +4 plus their proficiency bonus. So that means that a 6 is probably more in line. So we can push this up from a 5 to a 6, and it would be much more suitable. So we'll make that a 6. You cannot move it by more than 1 point without screwing up your challenge rating numbers. Okay, that's the only part of challenge rating that you can actually control, right? That's the only thing. Nothing else. If you try to do it any other way, it will not work. So you can have a tail, you can have a bite, and it can all be based off whether it's strength or dexterity. I honestly don't think it matters. We obviously won't have a strength of 21. That would be silly. But that's how I would do it. What do you got here? Tail. What do you got here? You're putting down some stuff here. Distraction is our job. Well done. You're doing a great job. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks, Fred. You put a number to the tail. The group is part of the pack that creates a relay to the hive mind and nucleus. Yeah, well, we've got a hive mind going on. It needs to ranged attack. I don't know that we need to worry about that because we're going to use our ranged attack as our mind attack. It can attack your mind, right? It can take control of your mind. That's its ranged attack. So that's nice and easy. That's not hard. Sorry. So I need to, if we're a small or tiny creature, we need to determine what sort of size or distance we have in terms of our attacks. And I think it is going to be, where are we? Bloody, blah, blah, blah. Small, reach 5 feet. I think 5 feet's more than enough. 15 feet would be ridiculous, so we get to 5 feet. 5 feet, include the tail as well. I don't think it needs to go any further. Forget about these numbers here. These don't make any sense right now. We'll get back to damage and how much damage output it should be doing in a second. Yep, per round. So we've got a tail. This here is going to be some sort of recharge, and it'll probably be, I don't know, possess mind. Something like that. And then we build a mechanic around that. We're not going to worry about lair actions. There are no lair actions for this creature. So we will just remove this. Come back to this. Like, okay, so we're just working through the maths of this right now. Next. We need to have... So that's the attack bonus. We dealt with that. Damage per round. So damage per round should be sitting at about 27 to 32. For those of you who are concerned that you will be doing 32 points of damage with a challenge rating 4 monster that you might have more than one, please do not concern yourself with that, because it really doesn't matter. Not when you're dealing with 5e. I always find myself having to push the damage up on my players that are in my group because they're really they're quite good at the game now. They don't really need me to hold their hand. They can figure out how to deal with most things. Now, obviously, the original Monster Manual was built for beginners. It's just a starting point. Yep, it's very, very basic, and that's fine. We can have a very basic thing going on here. But what I would say to you is, let's get rid of that. We don't need this. What I would say to you is that you definitely don't want to be making your monsters too weak in terms of damage output. Otherwise, your players will be in the battle for way too long. One of the biggest problems that monsters have in 5e is they don't do enough damage. So don't fiddle around with that. Give them a decent amount of punch. Otherwise, you're never going to get anywhere. Bite, roll, con versus egg implant. Okay, right. I see what you're saying here. That's not a bad idea, actually. It's actually a pretty good idea. So I'm just going to just type in a little note here. Roll, con save versus egg implant. Okay. TPK, they don't kill. They implant eggs and they stabilize the victim. Yeah, they don't kill you. They don't want to kill you. Well, although the egg can feed on decayed flesh and fresh meat, so it doesn't really matter. I'm pretty sure, is that how he built it? In terms of the food source, I'm pretty sure that's the food source for this thing. Food. The monster consumes decaying animal flesh while in egg form only. Yeah, so it's a decaying food. So it's probably going to... We would have to change the law a little bit for that to work. The adult animal eats fresh animal flesh or meat, but can sustain itself on decaying flesh. So we're changing some of the stuff. No, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm getting distracted. I'm getting distracted by things that are unimportant right now. Sorry, guys. Next. The range attack should be DC challenging, as it should aim to create the negative emotion. The eggs eat the victim alive. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to here. I got distracted by this, didn't I? How much time have I got left? I'm almost out. Okay, so 4. So we've got our damage per round. This is what we've determined how much damage we need to do. So we have to split it up between our bite and our tail. And if we're using our mind, okay, if we're using mind, then we need to do something else with it. We need to make it a much more punchy, because you're only going to get to do the mind thing only. So you're not going to get the mind and the tail and the bite. So you've got to decide. DC for this is a 14. Is 14 enough? That's the question. Constitution saving throw, mind. And this is probably going to be against your will save, if it's affecting your mind. So con save would be DC 14. All right, so let's determine, based off a 4th level character for our challenge rating 4 monster, what is suitable. If you guys want to punch in some stats for our monster, by all means do so. But let me walk you through this again. You are challenge rating 4. Character at level 4, not just the monster, but the characters at level 4, add an 8 to their proficiency bonus. Your proficiency bonus is a 2. So that gets you 8 and 2 is 10. What is their likely best save that they have? You don't base it on what you think your average will be, because that's not the important thing. We want it to work, not to not work. The lowest DC you should have on a monster, no matter their challenge rating, should always be a DC 13, because your players are almost always starting off with a DC 13 for everything they do. So there's no point putting the monster at a lower bar than the player characters. It's quite pointless. You guarantee the monsters will never have a chance of being a threat. They will almost never be able to be successful. The Banshee in D&D 5e, for example, is a very powerful monster if its DC was better. Otherwise, it almost never works. The thing doesn't do what it's supposed to do, which is knock you down to 0 hit points. Doesn't work because the DC is too low. So, at level 4 character, your best bonus, if you're using, point buy or standard array and you're not rolling, was probably a +3 before you got to level 4. When you got to level 4, you should have boosted your best ability, and it'll be now a +4, not a +3. So that means 10 plus 4. That's what we want to go for. That's the DC we need to ensure we have. Whether that is for the bite and injecting the eggs, or it's for the mind, the possessed mind ability. Mind possession. Okay, mind possession. So we want to make sure we have a decent number on those. Otherwise, you're screwed. I'm going to just highlight this for the purposes of later on. We will not worry about all of those other things. We will come up with some numbers for our character. It doesn't swim, but we need to give it a speed. How fast does this thing move? Let's just make it 30 feet. Let's make it fairly quick. It's a quick looking thing. It's got 6 legs. It should be able to run fast. As for swim, it doesn't need to swim because it walks on water. So it would be pointless to have it. So let's just ditch that. Okay. And then our stats. I don't think it needs to be that strong. I feel like it's a small creature. It's not that strong. Let's just make that 11. And that'll be a 0. Con. Its con does not need to be that high. We can give it a 2, a 12, and that'll just be a +1 there. That's fine. I don't want to make it that tough in terms of its ability to resist things. Its intelligence, its charisma, let's just make it fairly average. 10. So that's a +0. Its intelligence and its wisdom are things that are probably things we want to consider. Because you're dealing with a monster that affects somebody's mind. Wisdom or intelligence roll. Well, it could be either one. It probably could be either one. The ranged attack should be to create a DC challenge, as it should be aimed to create a negative emotion. Well, that's not what the monster does, Oscar. Remember, the monster takes possession of your brain and your mind. So that's what it does. That's how it gets at you. Yep. But it goes up 2 turns to 1. No, I'm not doing that. That's what you're trying to do is make the monster way too complicated. It's got to be run by a game master. Not by just a specific game master. Make it an evil god, and the creature controls priests, makes sacrifices to the swarm godlings. Oh my god. Okay, we're all over the place here. Let's keep going. I think our wisdom can be high, but it doesn't need to be that high. You know, it is still, obviously it's, if it forms into a collective and it's doing stuff, it doesn't need to be too crazy. So let's just make that a 16. And that'll be a +3. We've got more wisdom. It's intelligence. If it's got a hive mind, it's probably benefiting from that in some way. So I reckon we make this a 13 and give it a +1. And I think that is the gist of our monster. Now, everything else can be changed and shaped and adjusted as need be. Now, total hit points, how did I manage to lose that? Total hit points should be sitting at, okay. Somehow I managed to delete it. 116 to 130. Okay. All right. Somehow I managed to delete it, and I wasn't intending to do so. Okay, so there is our draft for our creature, our mind muncher. And all abilities are not there, obviously, but we've got some of the stuff, and it's just about going through and figuring out the rest of it, which we don't have time to do anymore. But hey, that happens while you're having fun. When I said we do stat blocks in this live stream, what I meant is we do stat blocks and we do them fast. So just the basics, not everything in fine detail. Half the information on your stat block you're never going to wind up using. It's quite common that people just don't wind up using it in some way. Okay, so don't get too upset if you don't see everything that you think that should be there in a stat block. It's really not that important. Anyway, let's end this poll. It looks like people really want to start to lean into the sky thing, so it looks like it's going to have to float. It doesn't have wings, but it still can change its density, so it means it can sort of balloon and float around. Oh, that's what I've got to do, is I've got to probably give it a fly speed. Oh, I almost forgot about that. It's going to have a fly speed, isn't it? A hover speed or a fly speed? I almost feel like it's going to be a hover fly speed. It'll be a fly speed, won't it? Where are we? Monsters. Need to give it a fly speed. It's definitely built for going across the ground, but it can also float around. I don't think it's going to be able to float that quickly, so if we do give it a fly speed, it's not going to be anything crazy. See there, and then fly. Let's give it a hover fly speed. Feet and hover. Okay, so it's not going to go that fast, and that will be fine. Okay, all right, got that down. That's in. Whew. And I'm out of time. We'll be back next week to do this all over again, as more than a few of you are aware. We make a monster every week. We focus more on the monster lore. If you focus on the monster lore should inform your monster stat. You know, your monster stat block and how your monster mechanically works. That's the lore informs that, not the other way around. It's much easier to do it that way. Do you know what I mean? If you try to do the monster stat block and then figure out the lore after, as I've said many times before, the monster comes out being a kind of a shitty monster. It's not a very good one. Anyway, huge thank you to everybody who's been watching and listening today. I do appreciate it. I know this is not the most popular of my live streams. I'm totally aware, but I love doing them, and I think we should keep going. So we will, okay? Thank you for taking part in the poll today. I really do appreciate it. It does help when people do actually vote. I want to thank Esper the Bard, who has been helping me, have something to sort of start our stream with. And going over his monsters is a good way of starting everything out. And because we're going over monster lore, that's part of that. And I want to thank all of my patrons who support me on Patreon so I can keep doing this sort of thing and we can keep making stuff, okay? Anyway, huge thank you to everybody in the chat who's been providing feedback and rolling dice. Cal Rowell, Oscar Gross, Fred Huber, of course, Pale Rider. We had Derp, who he gave us the picture for today, since my picture came out complete garbage. His came out much better than mine did. So a huge thank you too for that. And I believe we also had another patron who jumped in at one point, and it was Agile Monk, John. That's right. He was here with us as well. And I do appreciate you hanging out for a while and giving us some feedback and some comments. Really does help. Hugely helpful. Anyway, wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, or the night, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. Go and make your own monsters. You can. All the tables we use today are on Patreon. Just about every single one of them. You can make your own monsters. Go do that. Until next time, keep rolling those 20s.